Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the second annual Web TV Trailblazers Summit. Really sorry about the slight delay. I was having a little fight with Chromebook here. I get to sync up with Hangouts on Air and YouTube. Anyway, I am so proud to announce that we have with us today Jake Jarvi, who is the creator, writer, director, editor, sound editor, one of the producers, and a visual effects artist on the platoon of Power Squadron. Wow. Bottle washer and cook. Hello everyone, and welcome to the second
I'm so
annual
sorry. That is
Web
my
TV
problem.
Trailblazers.
1 second. That was you. That's the live delay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I got you muted now on the other side, so we can converse without hearing the YouTube feed.
Okay. The Platoon and Power Squadron. This is a web series with over 38,000 subscribers on YouTube channel with over 4.5 million video views. That is like really amazing.
Thank you.
In fact, legendary horror director Wes Craven of the Scream series A Nightmare on Elm Street recently called Jake's work slick in the best sense of the word. Very well lit, very well conceived, very, very powerful, and unsettling.
Yeah, it was like the greatest day ever.
Anyway, Jake spent some time in LA acting in the films Old School and Bondage. He appeared in a few commercials and landed a co-starring role on a Rob Lowe TV vehicle called Dr. Vegas on exactly the day that it was canceled.
Yep.
He served as the digital editor for Sheridan Road magazine for the last 7 years, editing every video that appears on their website, as well as writing over 400 feature articles, profiles, and movie reviews.
Yep.
And Jake really likes movies a lot to be doing all that. So anyway, welcome, Jake. Can you tell us about the Platoon Power Squadron?
Absolutely, absolutely. Back in 2009, I was looking to do another project because me and my friends always got together and did these projects, and especially after moving back from LA, it was important to me to stay involved in creating stories and making stories, if not for what I believed to be the mass marketplace, at least for my own edification, you know, staying involved in fiction and creating these stories. So back in 2009, I was like, hey, you know, we don't have great equipment, we don't have this, that, or the other, but what we can do is just start making this stuff. And YouTube had just been, like, a couple of years before YouTube had started, and it was still, like, you know, your destination for, you know, garage sketches and cat videos. Cat videos have gotten ever more popular, but we just started putting stuff up on there, and especially one of the guys in our show had just started getting an audience to his vlog, which is people who just do videos talking to their camera. He did a lot of like news reviews and talking to people about being a waiter. He called himself Wheezy Waiter as a vlogger, and he had like 1,000 subscribers or something. And we were like, that's amazing. That's you know, and so like we started this show, the Platoon of Power Squadron, about 4 ordinary people, 20-somethings in Chicago, who had these day jobs working in bookstores, yarn stores, comic book stores, and who had superpowers. Do not know why they have superpowers, do not know why nobody else has superpowers, and instead of being one of those superpower web series, which are quite abundant on the internet, where they're kind of like the old Batman TV series in the 60s, where there's really campy costumes and it's all very like la 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 superheroes, you know, like that kind of deal. We decided to do something a little more grounded in kind of like almost like a Clerks Kevin Smith approach to slackers with superpowers, where we're not making fun of the conventions of superpower mythology and stuff like that, but where it's more like watching a show like Friends, but they happen to have superpowers, and it's not sitcom.
That's a good description, I would say.
Yeah, so like we started out with like mini DV cams, with like the Canon XL1, which was a very good camera in 1999, you know, and so like 10 years earlier it would have been something, but we started in 1999. No. We started in 2009. The camera that we had, I said was a good
Oh,
camera 10 years earlier.
okay, got it,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, so it was just like mini DV tape, and for anybody who knows, that's just standard definition. That's like any television that we have now, it doesn't look good on, you know? It looks like streaming video quality, like for live feeds like this. It looks pixelated, you know? Like that's what it looks like. And 2 episodes in, I was like, okay, we're really going to start telling the story now. I'm going to invest. I bought a better camera, still not awesome, but better. And we did 2 episodes with that, and then our audience started contributing to us via Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns, and they bought us a new camera and they bought us new sound, and
Wow.
yeah, the audience has funded the last 4 episodes. We just finished our last fundraiser and got $21,000.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, so it's been good. It's been good.
Real fans.
Yeah, like people who actually put their money behind the content that we're producing, and that is like, I mean, like, that's insane. That's just it's more than someone like myself ever expected. You know, I'm 34 years old and I left LA, you know, to go back home, and now the audience is paying to see the show that we're making, so that I can hire my friends to do really good video effects and spend their spare time, which once you hit your 30s is a lot more valuable. Spend their spare time helping me make this show what it can be. So yeah, it's been a really good 5 years.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Tell us a little bit about who the actors are, and
Sure.
shout out to them.
Yeah. Well, the guy who brought us a lot of the vast majority of our 38,000 subscribers is a guy by the name of Craig Benzine. He plays a character called Mr. Dr. Electricon, who has the ability to kind of shoot lightning from his hands, and you see how he tries to develop that power as it goes on. But he's the guy who's the vlogger with his own channel with 500,000 subscribers, I think, at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, just had a viral video of proposing to his girlfriend.
Oh, I saw that one.
Yeah. So that's him. He's in our show, and then my wife, Eliza Tozer, is what her video work name is. she is also a producer on the show. So is Craig. And
I didn't know that was your wife.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we were married halfway through making the 2nd episode, but we'd been together for years and years before that. But yeah, so she's my wife. She's also a producer, does a lot of stuff on behind the camera as well, like whatever needs doing, basically, like most independent producers. She'll dolly grip, she'll lay out a schedule, she'll contact people, she'll, you know, it's very independent-minded producing. Then there's Carlin Janis, who is an actress on the show. A friend of ours from way back. Basically, the deal with doing an independent series like this, and we live in Chicago, we don't live in LA, no large media conglomerate behind us or anything, so it's all on our spare time, nights and weekends kind of stuff. And when you're doing a production like that, over the course of 5 years, I estimate we have about 1.5 years left of production before the entire series is over. But casting friends with a passion for what you're doing is your best bet, because there's not enough money in it to make it worthwhile. So
that works. The whole friends thing does work, as I've heard. You know, it can go either way.
Well, I think it also depends on the personality types involved. Like, yes, sometimes productions end friendships, but it doesn't happen with me because I
appreciate them.
I do appreciate them. That's exactly the key.
It's such a simple thing. It's one little word, and it's amazing. I've seen productions go down in flames because people forget that.
Well, because even on no money productions, people have this idea. We live in an era where there's this kind of auteur creator, vision. Like the director is supposed to be God on this set, and what I say goes and stuff like that. And that's not, when there's no money involved and people are doing this for favors and fun.
Right.
If they stop liking you as a person, there goes the favors. And if it's not fun, why am I here? you know?
Exactly, exactly. So appreciation and food.
Food is huge. like once our audience started giving us money, like legitimate money, we keep a craft services table. It's there's meager stuff, but like there's coffee in the morning if we're shooting in the morning. There's there's granola bars, fruit snacks. There's a meal. If we go over 4 hours, it's the classic. If you're shooting more than 4 hours, you need to have a meal for people, and it needs to not be peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that the cast assembles themselves, like. And after you've been doing it for a while, it also needs to not be pizza, because frozen pizza is the go-to, delivery pizza is the go-to, and everybody loves pizza until it's the 10th day on production and we're eating pizza again. So it's one of those deals where you have to, like, giving people a good meal and a variety of meal. Like, if I had my way, I could just eat sandwiches every day. I just love sandwiches. But you can only order from, like, Potbelly's one day, which is a sandwich chain out here. I don't know if you guys have it.
No, I've never heard of it.
All right, so Potbelly's one day, Jimmy John's another day.
Oh, Jimmy John's is good. They just came to Austin. I'm in Austin, Texas, by the way.
I love Austin, Texas.
Yeah, they just came recently.
Yeah, and you can do pizza on a day, or depending on how long the production goes. But then, like, order out Chinese, like giving people a meal. Free food goes a long way if you're working with your friends who are all just like you, a bunch of, like, middle-class people who work their day jobs, and if they're going to do a favor, at least like to be fed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Any other, did you cover all the...
Well, then also, like, again, going into the friends backlog, I have a friend who's been a friend of mine forever, and like I said, I'm the digital editor at Sheridan Road Magazine, which is this... JWC Media is the full, the publishing company, and we do several magazines out of there and stuff, and I write for all of them. But, like, I had a friend who knew that publisher, and he became involved in Pops as well. He plays the main villain of the show, and he also did a lot of music for us from episode 3 onward, and I've used his music in everything since. And his name's Suede, Derek Suede Stout. And so he's a big giant person. People love him as the villain because he gets to say the craziest stuff. And he's a fun villain on the show. So there's that. And then everybody that we've since, we cast a bunch of our friends in the beginning. When it came to the later roles, when we were getting funded through Indiegogo, I was like, all right, I'm going to reach out to the Chicago acting community, because there's a really huge community of Chicago actors. There's a lot of theater in Chicago, a lot of student productions in Chicago, and people are really, and a lot of commercials. Like, if you're auditioning in Chicago, before Chicago PD and Chicago Fire came here, and The Dark Knight and some movies came through, you're mainly auditioning for commercials, regional and national commercials. And so I put the ads out on Actors Access and Craigslist, and we got just the most amazing people coming in who, just based on seeing our trailer, our little, like, intro to Pops, because Platoon of Power Squadron is an acronym for Pops. Just seeing that little trailer, just coming in and being like, are you a SAG signatory? Because I want to be involved in what you're doing. So, like, I got us a signatory, and we're a union show.
Oh, good. Did you get it under, what is it, the
new media.
The new media thingy?
Yeah, the new media agreement, which, as long as which is an amazing contract, and we signed it 3 or 4 years ago, so I'm not sure if things have changed in any of the negotiations between then and now, but we kind of got grandfathered in at a point with, under the new media contract, as long as you Taft-Hartley non-SAG actors, you can kind of communicate between you and the actor what the compensation level is. And we've done this with our show forever, since everybody did the first 4 episodes absolutely for no money, no compensation whatsoever. Anybody who joins us halfway through, they do 1 episode on the house, and then after that they're compensated. Like, at the end of production, we take all the money that's left over and just split it out amongst us all at the same level.
Oh, that's excellent. And you know what? The whole SAG signatory thing, I found that just to take that effort, you'll get a lot of good actors who just want to, get more SAG points or whatever you call it.
Well,
So
yeah, not sure.
just take a little bit of effort. They'll take less money just to get SAG. So
Well, and in a town like Chicago too, where you've got a lot of really talented people who invest a lot of time into their art, their performance, and there's not a whole ton of like productions coming through other than theater. People want to see themselves in a show with visual effects. They want to see themselves like playing a really fun character with multiple lines of dialogue, which you don't get when you're acting in commercials.
right.
Which you don't get as a day player on Chicago PD. You might get a few lines, and maybe you get reoccurring. Then you'll start getting more lines. But if you see something fun that's happening in your city and is a SAG signatory, so that you're not going to get like fined for being in it, you get a chance to do some acting with some good folks.
Yeah, that's I know. You have a really good opportunity there. I have something random, but I'm just curious. Is
Yeah.
Chicago Fire really shot in Chicago? It looks like it is. But,
It absolutely is, yeah.
okay,
It
cool.
was a big deal. It was a big deal when those shows came to town, man, and everybody keeps talking about, like, several of my actors have been on Chicago Fire and getting good opportunities, and they always post their stuff on Facebook, like, today we're here, we're on Fire, we're on PD, like, and it's just really exciting. And like those of us who are friends and non-like actors who didn't chase agents and stuff like that, it's just really fun and keeps us feeling involved in this whole community.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, it sounds like you got a community around you too, around your production.
Well, it's turned into that. It has turned into that, and there's two separate communities. There's the community, the local community, who sees 38,000 subscribers, and segments of our episodes have over 100,000 views and things like that, where they're like, that's more people than will have ever seen me act before,
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get involved in the online community, because YouTube is a series of communities, and being involved in those communities is what makes people interested in you, actually, is constant involvement and participation. And to the YouTube community, 38,000 subscribers is like nothing.
Oh, it's still sweet.
No, for me, and it's a thing about readjusting your expectations all the time, because as somebody who is very active in the YouTube communities, I watch a lot of people, I interact in a lot of comments, and that's how you stay involved in these communities, by like engaging in the YouTube conversations, like what's the tag right now, what's the thing right now, and staying involved on other people's channels and videos, and you got to keep up with it. And it's not like a job. It's like you become a part of the community, and you just want to see their videos and be a part of the conversation. And so, but you see people who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, millions of subscribers in your network, in the people that you're interacting with. So even though the audience is small, our audience is extremely involved in what we're doing, and that's amazing. Bigger audience than I've ever had access to, and especially of like really, really great people. So I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying that 38,000 subscribers is nothing to me. It's everything to me. 38,000 subscribers. Sorry, my cat is on my lap now. So you just
Okay.
walking around.
Last year we had lots of pets show up.
Yeah. So but yeah, so like according to my expectations, we are doing great, and the fact that our fundraiser which ended days ago, it ended on the 3rd of October, successfully ended, is incredible to me. It's the most successful one we've had so far, and the next one's the last one. So I couldn't be happier with where we're at. And I appreciate every single person that comes to talk to me about my show. My comments are very active with theories and conversations, and it's an incredible, incredible opportunity that I've been afforded because of the time in which I live.
So can you tell us a bit about, because you mentioned being part of the community, can you like outline for people watching the things they, could be doing to start building that type of rabid fan base?
Yeah. Well, what I can only tell you about my experience, which is
And
that,
that's great.
yeah. Well, what I've done is listen to my good friend Craig, who has spent a lot more time devoting thought to YouTube. I spent quite a bit of time since over the last 5 years thinking about it, but YouTube is his living. So that he's obviously involved in conversations way above my headspace, you know. So every time he suggests I do something, I have done it. Like when we started, I would just post episodes and that was it. And then he was like, you really should do videos every once in a while just to let people know what's going on with the show and kind of interact with them, like vlogging, just talking to the camera, explaining what you're doing or your thoughts on stuff, just vlogging. And I was like, how often do I have to do that? That sounds really awful. And he was like,
good at it though, Jake. You're good at it.
Well, like it's like anything. It's a skill that you develop, and I appreciate you saying that. That's really nice. It's once a week. He was like, do it once a week, and I was like, once a week? That's 4 times a month, Craig. He's like, yeah, that's what once a week means.
Sometimes 5. Sometimes there's 5.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounded like so much work on top of all the work I was doing in my spare time on the show anyway, But then I started doing it, and after a few weeks of doing it, there were maybe, 10 people who would regularly comment at the end of the videos, and I started a conversation with them. And then as I did it week after week, like more people get pulled in, and you start to develop. For a time there was like about 5,000, 6,000 people watching my weekly updates, which was amazing. And then as more channels, like that was like in the heyday when the people who got through the gate first were getting a lot of views, And as more channels are developed and more people want to be YouTube famous and stuff like that, and there's just more stuff out there, it kind of thinned the flock and everybody's views dropped, to the point where I get regularly around 1,200 to 1,500 views on my weekly updates right out of the gate. And then on the episodes themselves, which used to get like around 30,000 right away, 30,000 views, now we're capping out around 10,000 views right out of the gate, and then slowly people catch up and the numbers build up,
Right.
So it's just... But like it's that constant interaction, and it's not enough to just come out and vlog yourself all the time. People need to see you out there in other communities. There's a community called the Nerd Fighter community. Have you heard of that?
No, I'm writing it down.
Okay, the Nerd Fighter community is based around these 2 brothers, John and Hank Green. John Green wrote the Fault in Our Stars book.
Okay.
All right, which was huge, national bestseller. The movie just came out like a little while ago and was #1 at the box office.
You're kidding. And the movie's called
The Fault in Our Stars.
Huh.
Yeah, no, this was a massive national, actually a global conversation.
I missed it, but that's not unusual for me.
Right.
Sorry about that.
So they do videos basically about science and kind of community, and about charity and about making the world a better place. A lot of like really kind of like poetic, philosophical conversations going on this channel, and they have 2 million subscribers now, something like that.
Wow.
And every video gets hundreds of thousands of views. They sold out a live performance at Carnegie Hall like 2 years ago. Like, it's like a big deal. So the Nerd Fighter community is one of these communities on YouTube. It's like flagship communities on YouTube. Like gaming community, Nerd Fighter community, like there's the Freddie W community, like I mean, and there's just all these different kind of community, like the makeup tutorial community. There's all these kinds of communities. Fail video, prank video, all this stuff. And the Nerd Fighter community is just one underneath the vlogging umbrella, but it's a big one. And then Wheezy Waiter.
Where are these communities? Are they on Craigslist?
No. They're on YouTube. They're just, and there's not like, you can't like go to YouTube and like click on, I want to check out the vlogging community, because there's no like place for that, I don't think, unless they've started doing. YouTube is always restructuring itself, so you kind of have to know a vlogger and then just kind of start tracing through related videos and stuff to these communities. It's like a speakeasy kind of conversation. You know?
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It sounds just like that.
It's one of those things where it's all like underneath the surface, and like all people see is YouTube, cat video, proposal video, fail video. This is what's being re-linked to Facebook and to Twitter and all this stuff. But if you go on YouTube and go underneath the surface, you know, you find more than cats. But the cats are there too. but you find this.
That's where my cat is. My cat disappeared in June, so maybe.
Oh,
Jeez,
that's a horrible story.
I know. I'm looking at your kitty. It's almost the same color. I'm like, oh. Go ahead.
But yeah, so like our Craig, who is an actor on our show, once he started vlogging, he was like, I'm gonna vlog every day for a year. He put up a video every day for a year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he just had his 1,000th video on YouTube. You know?
And how long did that take?
It took several years. But so he when he was doing this, it was still back in like 09, 08, 09, somewhere in there. And no, maybe 2010. Anyway, he was doing that every day for a year, and halfway through, he started seeing people in his comments refer to Nerd Fighters. So he was like, Nerd Fighters, Googled it, found out who Hank and John Green were, and then he like emailed or like sent them a private message on YouTube back when people responded to YouTube private messages. and he was like, a lot of Nerd Fighters are showing up in my community. I just wanted to introduce myself. So the Green brothers started talking about him, and his subscribership went, you know? And that's just how it works. It is a true word-of-mouth community based on interaction and affection for good people and good content, and that's what it is, and conversation.
Well, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that is one of the big reasons why I started this summit last year.
Sure.
Because the web series community just seems so individual in a way. It's like people just post stuff and
it is.
Talk to anybody. They don't talk to anybody. They interact. Even if you put something on their post, most of them don't even react to it. No, and it's not just the web series community, because I also teach social media to people, and you know, we'll be doing Facebook, and it's like, you know, they'll put up a post and then it's like they want to get off. I'm like, no, go check out other people's posts, and if you like something, say something, and if someone puts something on your post, say something back to them, you know. And it's weird. People think that the internet is just this one-way thing. You know, I just put myself out there and that's it.
People use interactivity a lot. Say like, this is an you have to, in order for there to be interactivity, you have to interact with
exactly.
people. Like
that's why I let you talk, because I was just fascinated. Like, finally somebody's saying it. You know, you need to interact.
That's the whole. That is the entire thing about YouTube, is that it is a conversation, and in order to have people. And like I said, people like, well, how do you do it? What's the trick to it? And people want to think about it like a trick. How do you get a lot of eyes on your content? By interacting with people. Not just the people who are watching your stuff. You can do it that way, but by going out into the community and interacting on other people's forums, participating, watching, commenting, clicking like, and, you know, thumbs down. Don't click thumbs down. There's no reason to click thumbs down.
No reason.
Clicking thumbs up and, like, being an active participant in it is what gets people involved. And that's what had people involved when our show didn't look good at all, was the fact that we were a part of their community. So they'll check out this thing, and there was less on YouTube then. But, like, this is not individual just to people, their online interactions. Like, my wife and I have gone to several like web series festivals and film festivals, and it's a problem within content creation itself, where we went to the LA Web Fest which was a very fun festival to go to, and we met a lot of cool people and all that stuff. Very nice. But like people would go to things were put in block screenings. So our show like would have like 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes in a block of like a 2-hour block of other web series. So it'd be like 5 web series if you go to this one block of screenings. And we would watch aghast as people who had shows in those blocks would only come in and out for their portion of the show.
Yeah.
Leave the room. It's like you can't. You're trying to create your thing in a vacuum where all it is adoration coming to you. That is no long. There's no marketplace for that anymore unless you're doggone, Edgar Wright, and you're making the most amazing thing anybody's ever seen in the world. Like, if you're J.J. Abrams, like.
Even he needs friends. Everybody needs friends.
Yeah, and his company is very good at interacting with Twitter and YouTube. They are. Like, I follow Bad Robot on Twitter, and every week they are giving things away. And if you retweet them, they enter you in a raffle for a Bad Robot giveaway.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's just a goodwill movement, man. And they're putting web videos out from the set of Star Wars. And that is the kind of interaction and community building. Like, I mean, you can't just walk out of a web series screening after your block. It's the exact opposite of community building.
Exactly. I would think, at least back in the day before YouTube, they used to have all these independent short film screenings and stuff, and yeah. I could never imagine anyone coming in just for theirs and leaving.
But it happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Back in the day, for some reason, people think the internet is different. It's like, no.
No, it's not. It's not, and you just gotta, and it's the trick of it is to not think of it as a trick. You get in there, you're gonna find stuff on YouTube that you like. There's just something for everyone there. So
right.
if you just search through related videos, if you type in vlogging, you'll find a gajillion vloggers. If you don't like one of them, you'll find somebody who's talking. I listen to a ton of people who talk about movie making, or just even movie reviews. Like, there are great people with great opinions and great voices on YouTube. And so I follow them. I interact with their communities. Every once in a while, maybe someone will retweet me or like reply to me, and we'll just kind of, like, a little conversation will start. And it's just this, good people find each other, but you have to be out there looking.
So tell me something, Jake. So now you're in this community and people find you. I mean, do you have a way of sending them to your show, or do they just go on their own?
No, yeah, I mean, like, it's much like the rest of the internet interaction. Like, if people find my show and they care enough about it, that's when they click subscribe,
Mm-hmm.
And then if they see me show up in their subscription box, because the subscription box on YouTube, it's just like a pile of videos of things that you've subscribed to, things that you were interested enough to press subscribe. And then I show up there every Sunday. I do my weekly update, and it shows up in their thing. Not many of my audience watches it, but enough of them do. And it's the people who come back week after week that are the ones who are funding our show. Like 1,200 people, 12 to 1,500 people coming back every week got me 360-something people to donate to the campaign to get us up to $21,000 for episode 9. That's
wonderful.
Yeah. So like that's where that's
a lot of pizza, man.
That's a lot of pizza. It is. Yeah. So like, and it's so like Craig. The vlogger from our show, he tweeted us out a bunch. He mentioned us in a lot of videos, and people would click over to our thing where I have my intro to Pops in 85 seconds. 85 seconds, I could say a minute and a half, but people think minute and a half, that's too long, I don't want to watch that. You say 85 seconds, oh, that's only a few seconds, I can watch that. Like, so they click over to that, and it's very much concise reaction of what our show is. Right there, it's 85 seconds of clips of special effects and kind of like comedic interaction and people not feeling appreciated, much like 20-somethings do. And then at the end of it, I have clickable links to each episode, 1 through 8. So far, there's been 8 episodes, and you can go and click on them. The first episode's 20 minutes. The 8th episode is 61 minutes. Like, they got longer as they went along, as I had more to say with each character. We're making practically full-scale movies each time now, and it's...
I noticed. When I went on this time, I'm like, oh my God, they're doing full episodes.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, more than... Yeah, it takes us a year to put out an episode, Rhonda. It takes us a year to put out an episode because it happens in our spare time. And even though people are donating money, like, it's, you know, I have buddies donating their VFX time for very little of that money, and it's many, many hours. I had one shot in episode 6 that I spent 71 hours on just the rotoscoping of, and then I had more to do on it. You know, that's 71 hours of spare time. That was about 2 weeks, you know, 3 weeks. I mean,
where do you get the energy from? What kind of sandwiches you be eating?
Yeah, right? No, I'll tell you where legitimately where I get the energy from is the people who come out and watch what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
It changed everything. Back in '09 when I started this show, it was a spare time thing when I felt bored, and I would spend most of my time like watching movies or whatever, come home from work and watch a movie, come home from work and play a video game, cook some dinner, you know, whatever, all this stuff. And then once the audience started showing up in earnest, anytime I wasn't working on it, I felt guilty because they were waiting. They were good enough to show up, and I should be creating something right now for them. And it also upped the quality. Once they started paying, I was like, now I really need to show them something because they are believing it enough to put their own money on the line. So then episodes started taking longer. They used to go out in 7 months. Now it takes a full year to get them up because they look and sound really great, and I put everything I've got into them, you know?
Yeah, I can tell. It really looks like it. So, okay, we had the communication part, and then the clips that go to a link to one of the episodes. And is there another part of your formula that you could share?
Well, then it's just managing the social networks, you know, like you've got your Twitter out and you've got like a Facebook fan page there, and it's just a matter of
because that's a full-time job in itself, or can be.
Well, yeah, and like I said, like my friend Craig, who makes his living off of YouTube, he really devotes himself to keeping up with his Twitter, his Facebook, his Tumblr, his Vine. I don't know if he's doing Vine yet. He will any minute now. His Instagram, like, you know, it's one of those things where you've got to make sure you're engaging everybody on every platform. And I don't take it that far because YouTube isn't a venue that loves web series. There are some people who really enjoy web series, and they'll find you if you stay and if you're good. Mm-hmm. You know, if especially if you're participating in communities. But it's not anything. Anybody who's ever had a web series knows the glazed look somebody gets when you say, "Oh, you should check out my web series." They're like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll do that." You know.
Sometimes online, that's all they'll put. Check out my new web series, and it's like, why?
Right.
And tell me why.
Right. Why? Tell me why. Why should I? There's so much stuff I can point my eyes at. Why should I be pointing my eyes at you? You know. And that's why I do intro in 85 seconds, because if they give me 85 seconds, they'll know whether or not they want to check out an episode. That thing is very accurate to what our show is, I think. And if they respond to that, then they'll check out the show, and then they will go. Because if you do, like, check out my show in 85 seconds, and you're giving an inaccurate representation of what your thing is, they'll go check that. They won't subscribe to it. They won't tell anybody about it. But I've got people commenting being like, I tell all my friends, every time a new episode comes out, I get people to come watch the old ones with me so that we're ready for the new one. When I launched episode 8 back in July, I was hearing from people who were getting gatherings together, and they were like doing countdowns and stuff, and it was the coolest thing in the world, Rhonda.
Yes.
Coolest thing ever. And then so I was like waiting, and then I went and I had breakfast with my wife. We were sitting there, and after working on this thing for a year, I just looked at her and I go, people are watching it right now. This is finally happening. They're watching it. And then 61 minutes later, I would log on and like read all these comments and like check out like people had been like tweeting stuff and like doing reaction videos after a couple days, and like it's incredible.
It really sounds like it to create something like that, and oh wow, that people are like waiting to see.
Yeah, and it's absolutely incredible. And that's another thing too, like putting out a trailer. People for online put out trailers way too early, and it's not, and it's just because that's what we're used to trailers doing. If when Avengers was coming out, we saw trailers over a year in advance, you know? That's one of those things where you get the hype up so that you can get the $1 billion box office or whatever. But for genuine short films, web series, online content, there's practically no point to a trailer. The last trailer that I put up, because people want to see something, click on it, and watch it. And that's what the internet does. Oh, that? I'll check that out. Click, watch the thing. To watch the trailer for something that's coming up is just like, well, I just wasted my time. You know, like that's not the thing. Why, I'm on the internet, I should be watching the thing, not something for the thing.
Well,
like,
this is a tip.
Yeah, well, like, I put up my last trailer for episode 8 3 days before launching the episode. The first trailer to the launch of the episode was 3 days, and I just wanted enough time for people to be like, to get those groups together and stuff. And that was the first time that it happened, because I usually put trailers out 2 weeks in advance, and people would forget. So 3 days, I put a trailer out. 3 days later, I launched the thing, and people were ready, and they were waiting, and they were watching. And
yeah,
so
that's the internet for you. It's very different. People just want to do it now. Just like you wanted to put up the link to Twitter right before I broadcast, and I got it. That's why I don't have a whole lot of time before the summit. I give people to even let them know. It's like I think I started Sunday.
Right, that's the thing. Like, when you are on the internet, people will not restructure their lives to... I said this to you right before we went on. People won't restructure their day to come watch me speak about these things, but if they're at their computer, once I start speaking about them and let them know it's happening right now, they might check it out, you know? Because if they have a moment, they watch my thing, they you know, have a conversation with me, we interact, and they'll come see, you know, a little bit more talk. And some people talk about, like, you inspired me to start this web series, you inspired me to do this. And that is really a really lovely side benefit, you know? But, like, the fact that they'll even come out and watch the thing that we're doing is what, let alone fund it, I mean, my God, is everything in the world. And I went back on that tangent. I don't even remember what question I was supposed to be answering right now.
Oh, no, you answered it. I was wondering what another part to, you know, keeping your rabid fans.
Yeah, and it's all it is keeping your quality good and being, look, this is the thing that's hard too, and it takes a little bit of time. If you watch those early updates, you can see there's still a wall in place for me. Like updates 1 through 10, you can see that, like, my eyes are more guarded. You know, like, if you watch the updates now, I turn the camera on and I just talk to them, and I'm genuine. Like, I'm not like, I'm gonna go be genuine. I just tell them exactly what's going on, exactly what I'm feeling, exactly what I'm thinking, and that's vlogging. That's why vlogging became a thing. People want to go on and see who people are, you know?
Right, so it doesn't have to be polished, it doesn't have to be scripted, it just has to come from the heart.
No, exactly. And it's one of those things where, like, I would be like, I don't want to do vlogging because I don't want people to check out my content because they like me. I want them to like my content. But then that's the disconnect, because that's the same thing with everybody else. Like, I like Edgar Wright movies, so I checked out his Twitter and his blog. So, like, I like him as a person. I'm more likely to go see his amazing movies. Same with J.J. Abrams. Same with Joss Whedon. Same with
Josh, yes,
Spielberg. Same with David Fincher. Like, I feel like I know them through their work, through their interviews, and so I want to see their thing immediately. You know?
Right.
And that's what the vlogging does. That's what interacting with people does, is they do actually, like, more than, like, just reading an Esquire interview with David Fincher on Gone Girl, although he is hilarious in those interviews. Like, so I feel like I know him. The people who watch my updates, they know me.
Well, yeah, that's all I did was just watch 2 of them. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. Let me see if he wants to come talk at the summit.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It's like it's just 2 of them. And then of course I did remember I had caught a couple of your episodes last year, so
yeah, there's 226 of those weekly uploads.
wow.
Yeah, so I've been doing it for 226 weeks in a row.
The overall thing is connecting, just connecting with people, going out of your comfort zone, looking at what other people are doing, making comments, creating community through things that you're actually interested in.
Absolutely. If you speak passionately about something, you find the other people who are passionate about it. That's a real interaction. That's not some like veiled attempt at networking. That's communication.
Yes. Yes, communication, and the vlogging is good because then that shares who you are.
Yeah.
And small clips, and don't bring out trailers too early.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's not, and none of it has to be mercenary. It can all just be, and it's uncomfortable at first, but once you get out there and you just keep on doing it, it just becomes a part of your week. You know, it becomes a part of your life. Like this, my life is completely different than what it was before I started interacting on YouTube. Completely different. And my satisfaction level with my own work and my satisfaction with just my relationships, because I feel proactive in creating the thing that I create. And I feel heard, you know?
Uh-huh.
I feel like my content is being consumed, and that makes me a much more satisfied person in general.
Well, because you're making a connection.
Yeah.
You know, it's still the connection thing. It's not just the show. It's the show is making a connection with people out there. So yes, that's exciting.
It is.
It
It's really
lives. Anytime you make a connection, you change something.
yeah.
So.
And YouTube is just a venue for making many, many more connections than you can outside of a forum, you know? Like I can't walk down the street and make that many connections as I can as like just turning on the camera and spilling my guts, you know?
Right. I have a question. Oh, so can you tell us a little bit about, because you do the special effects for the show too?
I do some of them, yes. I have other people who do them as well, and that's a lot of where the money goes too. But I do, yes, I do.
Yeah, tell us a little about it because they're pretty cool, and like the evolution of them too.
Sure. No, I mean, like I didn't know anything about doing effects when I started the show. Just that I liked movies and TV shows that did effects, like Smallville and every superhero movie ever. Like if you're gonna do a superhero show, you got to have effects. Mm-hmm. And so like I wrote the script and we shot the thing, and then I started figuring out how to do effects. And that's why they look so awful at the beginning, because I didn't know what I was doing. And like some of the plugins I actually use in reverse, and I didn't even know what some of the most basic elemental tools were for the first 2 episodes. Like when I finally started working with my friend who knew more about it, he was like, oh, you grab the pen tool, which is the tool in After Effects that does everything with compositing, everything and everything. And I was like, the what tool now? And he was like, the pen tool. He's like, it's up in the corner. And I clicked on it and it changed everything. And so then, like rotoscoping and everything, and a lot of it is just like shooting it right. You need to know how you're going to shoot it, and if you shoot it the right way, if you shoot it to have an effect put on it, then it's all it is then is a matter of time and going through frame by frame and adding this effect or that effect.
The point is that you started though. You just figured it out, not knowing anything, and when you do that, it's amazing how someone will come along and help you, and then your game gets better. So
that's true. And going back to the online thing is that like we had people from the audience volunteer to help us with effects, and that got us into doing like CG 3D modeling, Mm-hmm. And I can't do that stuff, but he taught, like the guy who Leo is this guy in Germany who taught over Skype my friend Ryan, who is one of the main VFX guys on the show, to do 3D modeling over Skype, and so that really upped our game, and it's been incredible. And there's just so many online tutorials. Like, there is videocopilot.net is the greatest, like, place to get a foundation for working in After Effects ever. Because the guy who does it, Andrew Kramer, he does all of, like, J.J. Abrams, like, title sequences and stuff, and he is hilarious, and he is the most skilled After Effects man in the world, and he gives it away for free. If you go to videocopilot.net, you can watch all of these free tutorials. It's amazing. Okay.
Video pilot?
Videocopilot.net.
Pilot, okay.
Yeah, he's great. He's Andrew Kramer here for videocopilot.net. Like, you'll just go and you'll just, like, and then after a while you start wanting to watch the tutorials just to feel like you're hanging out with Andrew Kramer because he's so great.
Wow, that's really neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope everyone's getting this. Wow, that's really good. And don't forget, at webtvtrailblazers.com, there's a little blue, the Platoon of Power Squadron banner. Click on that. Go check out Jake's show, because it is really entertaining. It really is, and the special effects are pretty cool right now.
Yeah, you just gotta get through that initial blast. Yeah.
Right. No, go ahead. So your special effects are cool now.
Yeah. So that helped a lot, and I actually only have a couple more minutes. I got to get back to my day job, actually.
Anything? Oh, I do have another question though. Okay, yeah. Go. Have you ever thought, especially once it's over, or maybe even before it's over, like, getting it onto cable or something?
Oh, I mean, that conversation, like, people like from our audience ask me that too, and like, why don't you go pitch it to somebody, and these things like that. And I think there's a couple roadblocks to that. I mean, we have a pretty good amount of footage now where we could cut down and kind of put a pretty good proof of concept together for it. But I honestly feel like we're almost at the end of this superhero thing, to the point where, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. gets a good run, but it's because it's connected to the Marvel movies, which are the main conduit for superhero entertainment right now, Or, like, they're trying to do this thing with Gotham. We'll see how that pans out. Like, things that are not connected to, like, big-time DC or Marvel properties don't get a lot of traction. Like, if you look at the superhero stuff that's come out, like the Cape canceled right away. There was one about a family with superpowers, but it was
very good.
No, see, that's the thing. Like, that doesn't matter. Like,
I still wanted to like it.
Right? But people will see these things, and like Heroes. The first season of Heroes was amazing. It was. And then every subsequent season was just another reason to not tune in. Like, but they see that and they're like, they don't think, oh, it's because the show wasn't as good. They think, oh, it's because people are tired of superhero shows that aren't Marvel or DC. So, like, I think that would get in the way of the pitch. And then there's just the plain simple fact that I have never pitched anything. I'm good at making stuff and I'm good at interacting with online communities, but who do I pitch to where? How can I get him on the phone? That was very sexist of me. How do I get them on the phone?
No, I get it. I was just curious because I call myself a visionary muse because I tend to see stuff, before it happens. And, like, for instance, last year I was watching Epic Mealtime, and I'm thinking, I really, really like this. I think it was maybe even 2 years ago. Yeah, I really, really like this. This could be on TV, and I'll be damned if it's not on TV right now.
They're massive. Yeah, Epic Mealtime is massive.
DYI channel or something. And so that's what popped into my head about your show. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, and I don't even I would if there was a way for somebody to be like, I would like to make Platoon of Power Squadron. We need to change the title, obviously, because it sucks. But, like, if there's a way to get this on TV, like, it looks like people enjoy it according to your comments and all your likes and all of the views. Like, we could make this into a thing. I would be like, yes, let's do that. I'll do that. Let's do that. But if somebody was just like doing
more sandwiches.
Yeah. if somebody was like, we can do some other project on TV too, just based on kind of the tone of the thing that you do, like I would, in a heartbeat, I would go back to the real industry and do this. But that kind of system kind of sounds like it's crumbling too. So I think what we need to do is find our satisfaction in our stories that we're telling.
Yeah,
So,
you're probably right. And I also really think that the future is web TV anyway. So.
Sure. Yeah. So the real answer is I don't know how to get into those conversations. I don't know how to get into those pitch rooms or to.
But you're open to it if it happens to happen.
Absolutely, but that's kind of the attitude of like, oh, if it happens, it happens. Like that's not going to get anything done. That's the same as, oh, I'd start making a web series, but it's I don't have the right equipment. Well, then you're not going to make your web series. You just got to get in there and do the thing. So I guess if I wanted badly enough to be in that room, I would figure out how to make that happen. So I must not want it bad enough, I guess.
Oh, well, what you got is great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jake. That's Jake Jarvi. Go ahead and give everybody the website.
Oh yeah. You can find us at platoonofpowersquadron.com, but that's not where the community is. If you go to Pineapple Boy Films, no spaces, that's the YouTube channel, Pineapple Boy Films, and there you can see our community. You can see the episodes, the updates. My cinematic study guides, my, just me and my wife hanging out. You can see some live shows that we did, some other live shows, and it's a really good place. A good place full of good people. And I'm not just talking about us making the show. I've met many good people in our boards that I know by name now, And
PineappleBoyFilms.com.
Nope, Pineapple Boy Films on YouTube. You'd have to just put it in the search bar or something. Pineapple Boy Films, I don't think.
Check.
Yeah. So just if you Google Pineapple Boy Films, that'll get you to our YouTube channel, and that's really the place to see what our community is. Or you can find me, Pops Jake Jarvi, Pops Jake Jarvi, no spaces, on Twitter. Yeah, and that's basically where I do most of my interacting, is Twitter or YouTube.
All right. Thank you so much, Jake, for your time and sharing all that. I learned a lot. I hope other people did too.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes, thanks a lot. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. www.webtvtrailblazers.com. Thank you so much for listening.